In this third movie, we will demonstrate how you contact those you owe money to in order to get an overview of your debt.
It may feel strange to contact creditors to know how much you owe them. Paul has moved around many times, and the demands for the collection of debt have stopped arriving in his mail. He thinks that these debt collection companies might have just given up on collecting the money.
Is there a statute of limitation for debt? Can debt become so old that it is no longer legally possible to collect it? In most cases, no. It rarely occurs that demands get so old that the creditors no longer can claim their money back. Most demands end up in a debt collecting company, and they are experts on collecting money. Most demands will not go away. They increase with interest rates and fees as long as you do nothing about them. If you stop receiving collection letters, it's usually because you haven't notified that you have changed address. It is your responsibility to make sure you get your mail, also when in prison. Some creditors might choose not to waste time on demands that are old and small, but you usually don't get rid of most demands.
This is the most important reason to deal with your debt. If you do nothing, your debt will be bigger and bigger. When you make contact with the creditors, you need your personal identification number and the address you want them to send mail to. When you get started, you have to be aware that you will receive a lot of mail that you have to open, read, and do something about. Since Paul hasn't held on to any papers, he has to contact all of those he owes money to. The first thing he does is writing a list over what he remembers. He knows what mobile company he uses, who he rented an apartment from, and that he has some fines for sneaking on the bus. Paul's contact officer has helped him finding the phone numbers to the different companies he believes he owes money to. And now he calls all of those on the list, and on the list you'll find in the book and the booklet. It takes time, because most creditors prefer you using the internet, and he does not have access to the internet. The prison doesn't allow anybody to call him, so they can't phone him back. So he has to sit on hold for a long time, and it takes weeks in order for him to get an overview. There are a few simple things you have to keep in mind. This is how a conversation might sound like.
Hei, det Paul Smith som ringer. Jeg lurer på om dere kan sjekke om dere har noe registrert på meg.
Ja, det kan jeg gjøre. Har du saksnummer?
Nei, men kan du slå på personnummeret mitt?
Ok.
Det 130882 13131.
Bare litt øyeblikk. Jeg ser at du har 2 krav hos oss.
Ok, hva det for, og hvor mye det?
Det et krav fra Sporveiene på 3400 kroner, og så ser jeg et her fra Mobil AS på 9120 kroner.
Ok, kan du sende utskrift i posten?
Jeg kan sende det på SMS eller e-post hvis du vil.
Du, jeg har ikke tilgang på mobil og internett, så det best med post for meg. Dessuten så trenger jeg kopi av kravsgrunnlaget.
Ok, hvilken adresse skal jeg sende det til?
Most creditors appreciate that he wants to deal with his debt. The letters are now pouring into the prison, and Paul starts with sorting out his bills and putting them in his debt overview. Espen dreams of a new start. He has a meeting with a social consultant in prison, and he explains to her that he heard a rumor that people in prison get their debt erased by filing for personal bankruptcy or something. But is it possible?
Some people believe they can file for personal bankruptcy. This is not an option in Norway. For some, it's possible to get the debt partly or fully erased if some requirements are fulfilled. If your debt is insurmountable, namsmannen can help you with a solution called Gjeldsarbeid, which is debt settlement. An application for debt settlement must contain information about absolutely everything you owe to all creditors. There are strict requirements. 1. The total amount of your debt is not the deciding factor. The most important requirement to get a gjeldsordning is that you're not able to pay your debt for many years, maybe never. 2. Most of the debt can't be new. 3. Debt due to crime like fines and recompensations can be hard to erase. But the older this debt gets, the chance of getting gjeldsordning increases. 4. There are strict rules for debt on child support, taxes and fees. A gjeldsordning normally lasts over a period of 5 years. You will pay off on your debt with all the remains after deducting a fixed rate for living costs and rent. You can get gjeldsordning even if you can't pay at all. Few people get gjeldsordning whilst in prison, and normally you'll only get it once in your lifetime.
When Espen says he believes to have around 260,000 kroners in debt, the social consultant tells him it's unlikely he will get gjeldsordning. He is young, has great opportunities to get a job, and probably got a lot of new credit card debt. But before she can be certain, he must get a full overview of his debt. Meanwhile, Per is in full swing. Per has saved all his bills, but he hasn't opened the letters. In the beginning, he asks his mother if she can help him. When he opens and sorts all the envelopes, he finds that most of the letters are reminders for the same demands. He believed he owed money to many, but it turns out there are only 8 creditors. He sets up a list showing who he originally owes money to, when it's from, and how much the demand was to begin with. Then he writes which collection company has taken over and how much the demand has increased with interest and fees. Now he has an overview. He actually surprises himself. He owes 100,000 less than he thought. He now begins to set up a budget, but in the meantime we will check in on Espen again. Espen thinks he knows who he owes money to. It's his family, credit card companies, phone company, and some more. He doesn't want to call the phone company because he tried before. They have refused him to buy a mobile phone on down payment. And he yelled at the caseworker. He believes he's blacklisted.
Are there blacklists? Yes, but it's called something else. Payment remarks. Espen is registered as a bad payer. That's why he can't buy the mobile phone. If you have one or more payment remarks, you can be denied credit cards, buying on down payment, or get a subscription. The good thing is that it is possible to get rid of payment remarks.
Those working at customer centers are people too. If you are rude or threatens the staff on the phone, a red flag will appear the next time you call. Then you have a pretty bad starting point when negotiating debt. If you get angry, end the conversation in a polite manner and call back later. If that's not an option, write a letter instead. Espen writes the collection company, and he receives a letter with an overview of his credit card debt. He's shocked when he realized how much more he has to pay back compared to how much he spent. His debt has increased due to interests, fees, and legal costs.
If you max out a credit card and borrow 30,000 kroners with a 25% interest rate, there will be a lot more money to pay back. If you pay back nothing in 5 years, those 30,000 will grow to over 90,000 kroners. That's more than 3 times as much as you borrowed. In addition to this comes reminders fees and legal costs. Those 30,000 kroners you spent are now suddenly over 100,000 kroners.
In the next movie we will demonstrate how to set up a simple budget.